Hello, welcome back to another episode of Initial Impressions. My name is Kayli Pommering and I'll be your host today. Today's episode is going to be about creating confidence from within. As always, the purpose of all of these podcast episodes are to help you develop a deeper sense of inner peace, to feel more grounded in the way that you feel and the energy that you have, and not be so susceptible to everybody else and what they've got going on, or even when life is hard, knowing how to deal with that. I want to give you tools that you can use on a day-to-day basis to help you combat anxiety, fear, shame, trauma, all the things. In this episode, we're going to be talking about creating confidence from within. And I wanted to share the 3 things that I think truly help create confidence that's lasting and stable and consistent. First is humility. As odd as that might sound to be something that I think builds confidence, I think it does. The second thing would be intention setting. And thirdly, validating actions. So let's talk about where people normally get confidence from. And that would be external people, praise from other people, outcomes, results, effort even sometimes. Confidence can come from a lot of things outside of yourself. And I like to call that not confidence, but a feeling of confidence, like a very fleeting, momentary confidence. And it can get you somewhere, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, confidence built on everything external, everything that's susceptible to change from other people and their actions and their beliefs and the way they change and the way that affects the way they think about you because of their beliefs. Somebody could think you're so cool and then they start thinking that what you're doing is wrong out of nowhere. You just have no idea. People change their minds all the time. And if your confidence is rooted on all things external, you are building a house of cards. It will be a confidence that blows away like a house of cards does in the wind. I want to help you build something deeper rooted than that, something that you can decide on, something you can give yourself that makes sense, that's not so hard to believe. And the reason that I think humility creates confidence is because in humility, you have true self-awareness. I'm not talking about like the self-deprecating kind of humility. Humility is about understanding and being aware of your flaws and knowing that you're not superior to anyone else, that there isn't anything about you that makes you inherently more special than another human. You have an awareness of our connectedness and an awareness of your own personal limitations. And I'm not even one to like the word limitations or that people have limitations, because I don't think that we should go out of our way to self-impose negative beliefs, but you are where you are. And if you have an awareness of that, it keeps you humble. And in your humility, you can take actions that are considerate of other people, that are considerate of where you currently are. It reduces blind spots. It reduces the opportunity for things to happen and you be shocked by them because you understand what you currently know how to do, what you're currently qualified for, and acting in accordance with that is important. Being able to recognize when you make a mistake and learn from it, that is important. And having that understanding of how you function as a human and that you have enough humility that it's really in your best interest in the long run, you're going to get where you want to be faster because of this awareness. That does build a feeling of confidence because it's a feeling of security, a feeling of really understanding yourself. And when you have that feeling, like, for example, let's say you're just like looking at other people. If somebody is humble, if somebody is aware of their shortcomings and therefore can have plans to compensate for them, you really admire those kind of people who own where they are. It's something that's admirable. And when you know that you have a characteristic that's admirable, that does feel really good to possess. This isn't the kind of confidence that seems really flashy, but it's a kind of confidence that's deeply rooted. Now, how does intention setting create confidence? This one I recently heard on a podcast with Ed Milet in it, and I absolutely loved what he shared, and I just had to put it on the podcast. And that is to create confidence through your intentions. And I think that is so powerful when you really think about it, because deadlines are missed, mistakes are made, people misunderstand you. But if you know who you are and you know your intentions, what you intended to do, that's pretty powerful. That is like way more powerful than this is what they thought about what I did, because you're getting to the real truth of the matter. What did you intend to do? Not how did they misunderstand you and then beat yourself up about it. Have the humility enough to see how maybe you could have carried yourself or communicated yourself in a more articulate manner, but also know and give yourself credit for the intentions that you're setting. If in the beginning of the day, you're intending to be positive, to be loving, you go into a meeting, you're intending to be patient, you're intending to be a good leader and a good teacher, and you go into each of these new segments with that intention, first of all, it changes the way you act. I'm certain of it. There are times when I, will prep myself before I walk into an event. At this point now, I kind of do it on autopilot. I just can't even help it now. It's like I'm on the way somewhere and I'm thinking, what are my intentions for this event? What am I trying to do? And this intention setting really kind of translate into confirmation bias. And that's basically where when you become aware of something and you notice it, you then will see it more because you're looking for it. Let's say I tell you, have you ever seen a green Camry? You're going to be like, no, I've never seen a green Camry ever before. Like, that's so weird. And I'm just like, look for a green Camry. I bet you'll see one, okay? So then, not that green Camrys are weird. If you have a green Camry, I'm not hitting on your car. That's just random, right? This is random. So let's say you're driving on the highway, same route you take every day to work. All of a sudden, you see 2 or 3 green Camrys, and you're like, what the hell? Now there's green Camrys all around me. And it's like, I highly doubt there's more green Camrys than there was yesterday, but you're just aware of them now. And when you have an intention, you're setting your mind onto that awareness. If you're intending to be confident, you're intending to be happy, you're intending to be powerful or radiant or positive or energetic, you look for opportunities all around to both confirm that belief you have about yourself and also for opportunities to experience those things. And so when you're turning your brain onto these things through intention settings, it's a powerful indicator you're almost halfway there when you intend to do something. And when the inevitable does happen and you're faced with this situation of feeling guilt or shame because you made a mistake or you misunderstood something, this is a great tool to have in your pocket for self-soothing, because that's really why we're doing anything we're doing, is because we think that it's going to make us feel some type of way. And so you need to be prepared to bring yourself back to equilibrium, to bring yourself back to a state of peace and happiness. If you want to live on autopilot and just let your emotions rage on, you'll just never have control. But if you want to have control, then when those negative situations come up and you've set that intention already from the beginning of the event, you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, look, I could have done this better, but what was my intention? My intention was not to cause harm. My intention was not to be mistruthful. It was not to mislead anyone. It wasn't to, do a bad job at this, whatever it may be. You can tell yourself, my intention was to be loving. My intention was to be kind. And this isn't about what you're telling everyone else your intention was. This was the conversation you have between you and you about how you feel about you, about how you feel about the actions that you've made. And when you can tell yourself and really know it and mean it, it was not my intention to have that result. This was my intention. That is something that's really powerful for helping you self-soothe, really powerful for helping you remember who you are, and it does build confidence. Now, a key part of this intention setting, which is part 3, and that's validating actions, is that in order to truly know that you had that intention, you have to validate it with action. If you say, I'm intending to be loving and kind, and then you leave the house and yell at everybody and are very impatient and not nice, then when you go back and say, it was my intention to do this, you're going to be like, it was my intention, but I didn't act like it at all. You need to anchor that intention in. And so do that quickly by finding something fast that you can do. If I'm saying to myself, my intention is to live today with a grateful heart, then right after that, I'm going to think of 3 things I'm grateful for. Boom, anchors it in, validates that. It validates that feeling. It validates that intention. It becomes even more incorporated into who you believe that you are. And that is what confidence is. It's being able to say, this is who I am. I know who I am. I feel grounded in who I am. And I love who I am. That's what real confidence is. Not, I get this many results this much of the time, and these people say these cool things about me. That's all fleeting, all changing. Nothing that really feels like true love for yourself and confidence in yourself. I want you to have an unshakable confidence that you can provide to yourself. And that is something that a lot of people don't have access to simply because they're not in the habit of practicing their mind in this manner. Validating actions are crucial to building confidence. Setting boundaries for yourself and honoring them, validating action. Setting goals for yourself and immediately trying to find a way that you can take action, even if it's just a small one, to push you in that direction, push the needle forward. It is important to, action is a part of building confidence. It's not all of it, most of it's mental, but when you validate it with some action, it becomes unshakable. And that would be my biggest advice for you in helping you build a really deep-rooted sense of self-confidence. If there's anything I want to leave you with that I want to ask you, please do this in your own time. That is, ask yourself, who do I intend to be? What are my intentions? How do I want to carry myself? And then I want you to literally sit in front of the mirror and tell yourself, I intend to be whatever it is, XYZ. If it were me, in the mornings, I probably usually say, I intend to be loving. I intend to be patient. I intend to be compassionate and caring. I intend to be present and aware. I intend to be a positive light. I say all of these things because I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect human. But when I set that intention, I feel like I'm already halfway there. I feel like I've already started looking in that direction. It's like when you're standing in one spot and you think about 10 feet in front of you, where your feet are pointed are going to put you in a completely different trajectory 10 steps later. So this tiny little turn in one direction is going to send you to a completely different side of the room, 10 feet away. You can change fast when you're just starting your journey. But when you're already so far into the day, sometimes it's harder to kind of switch lanes. So point the trajectory and where you want to go through your intention setting and stay on that path as best as you can. And don't beat yourself up when you don't. And know that it's not your intention and remind yourself of what your intention is. Be about the practicing of it. Be intentional about it. Man, intention setting is a part of confidence, but your whole life revolves around intention setting. It is the most powerful tool that you can cultivate. I hope this podcast episode was helpful. If it was, please like, subscribe, share it with somebody that you think it would benefit. And as always, I hope that you are leaving more at peace than you came. Thank you again.